Hey there, welcome to another video here on this Esoteric Circle YouTube channel. My name is Pete Haskins. Wherever you are out on your journey, welcome. It is thundering and lightning here in Wisconsin, and kind of a Scooby-Doo evening here. But just wanted to kind of bring you a reading from Boris Mouravieff's Gnosis, which is a combination of orthodoxy and fourth way teaching. So I'm going to be reading this passage that we're studying. Many of you recently have joined our group, so if you are interested in joining our online group that dives deeper into this stuff that we talk about on this channel, just send me a note and I will send you my email and we'll get you an invitation. Blessings to you. Thank you so much for being here. This one passage from Boris Mouravieff's Gnosis 1, it's the Esoteric Cycle, Book 1 that we're studying. This is the beginning of Part 3. And this just really resonates with me in terms of my own spiritual journey, and hopefully it does with you too. So stick with me here as we read this one section. He says, "We are not aware of how much we are bound by the action of the general law. Acting on us as it does on ourselves, this law immobilizes us or constantly tends to bring us back to our place. Its strength leaves us little freedom of action outside the limits of its direction and scope. It acts in various ways. One can say that if a man lives like everyone else, if he does not venture off the beaten track, he will never perceive the existence of this force, or rather this force will ignore him. But if his enterprises are out of the ordinary, no matter what field they are in, but especially in esotericism, this force begins to act and stirs up all sorts of obstacles in order to bring him back to the point where, according to the general law, he must reside. Even without knowing this force, we have an intuition of its existence and of the many forms which clothe it. The Holy Scriptures speak of it more than once, especially where esoteric work is concerned. On this subject, Jesus says that, quote, a man's enemies are those in his own house. And more directly, that a prophet is without honor only in his own country, among his parents, and in his home. Thus, if this conservative force, which is the servant of the general law, does not succeed in calming man by acting directly upon him, it tries to reach him indirectly through the people of his household, either through the feelings they invoke or the coolness of the contempt they openly show him. The classical example of this indirect action is the seduction of Adam by Eve, his alter ego, after she herself had been seduced by the serpent by means of the fruit of the tree of knowledge and good and evil. This myth is full of significance. The serpent personifies illusion, more exactly the power of illusion implanted in the human organism and the strength at its disposal. We should note that this power, as well as bringing danger, has net positive results, notably creative imagination. The force of illusion itself can be mastered and directly and integrally in a constructive direction, but this reversal of its effects cannot be obtained except at the price of work, pursued with tenacity towards and on the esoteric way. In exterior man, this power leads to negative consequences as a result of the series of illusions it generates. So, talks a lot about the general law, doesn't he? The general law is basically the same thing as the Matrix in the movie The Matrix. It's that which keeps us asleep. It keeps us in a field of illusion. ILLUSION, illusion. Keeps us asleep, keeps us slumbering. And as the Orthodox say, we need to stay awake. We need nepsis. So one of the things that he talks about here, which is so important, is that when you live an ordinary life that fits into society and you don't do anything differently to attract attention, you will not have the resistance that he's talking about. You're certainly not going to have the resistance that Jesus is talking about, where it says a man's enemies are those in his own house. When you begin on this esoteric journey, you get resistance. Okay, you get resistance. And it says here, but if his enterprises are out of the ordinary, no matter what field they are in, but especially in esotericism, this force begins to act and stirs up all sorts of obstacles in order to bring him back to the point that he must reside. Even without knowing this force, we have an intuition of its existence and of the many forms which clothe it. So we're talking about, as you start this path, and I want to talk about this today, as you start on this esoteric path and you are awakening in the apocalypse, and you are within within the chaos and the craziness that is going on all around you, and you're still having an awakening, and you know something is happening to you, you are going to have resistance. And I want to talk about that for a minute. This resistance is going to try to keep you in illusion, and it's going to try to get you back in line, and it's going to try to make you look and sound and act like everybody else, okay? And I don't know about you, but there's always been something about me that resists acting like everyone else in my culture and in my group, and I've always really struggled with that. Always really struggled with this idea of, just act like everybody else and just do it and don't ask questions and just stay in line. And I really struggle with that. And as the storm is brewing with this culture wars and with our ecological collapse and political turmoil and everything that is going on, we are going to continue to have these resistances. I want to talk about something just really quick. When I first started my esoteric journey back when really a conscious effort was in my early 20s. And I got my call to ministry, and I felt like I needed to be in the church. I needed to be in the church. And so I went to seminary, and as I started that, I got involved with a church as their youth pastor. This was back in the early 90s. And as I got involved with that, I had I began to have these resistances. I began to have these people that came into my life that really, really came up against me and really tried to do damage to me, personally. And I came upon a guy, last name was Curtis, and I was the youth pastor. He was my senior pastor. And he really tried his best. I don't think he even knew it, but he really tried his best to prevent me from progressing in the ministry, and was not supportive of me. And as I have, that was 30 years ago, and he's long passed. But as I look back on that, I realize, as I was a young man, and as I ventured into that realm of this very dark path along this esoteric journey that I was on, that I was started to attract attention. And I started to attract attention of people that really were not concerned about my journey and not concerned about my path. And as you awaken, as you do this, you need to realize the ramifications of this awakening. That there are things that are going to pop up around you that weren't there before, that can really put up a lot of resistance against what you were doing. And you need a group. And we have that group online. You need a mentor. You need someone around you that's going to help guide you. You need that. You need those two things first and foremost. And you need the last thing, the third leg on this stool, as we say, is a prayer life. And you need a prayer life to be able to allow you to dive deeper. And using the Jesus prayer is what I did. And remember that everything that we're doing here on this channel is about esoteric Christianity. So we're not only Gnosticism, but fourth way teachings and orthodoxy. We're using all those three to combine in the teachings that give us guidance in how to make it through this very, very confusing and rough time when we do start this esoteric path. I had people around me on my path who were there for me, and I know you do too. The storm is just getting going. So, as you heard in the reading today, the serpent is the thing which symbolizes the illusion. And everything that is going on around you as you start on this path, this esoteric path, wants you to go back to sleep and wants you to ignore it. And wants you to act like everybody else, dress like everyone else, sound like everyone else, and don't cause any trouble. And this path that we're on, this esoteric path that we are on, is anything but ordinary. And the spirit must be able to be given room to move. And part of this movement is your personality, is you. And everything about you and your gifts, right? Your personality, your characteristics. You and who you are is important to God. And everything about you is important. And God wants to be able to shine through you and impact this world and help it as it's really experiencing karmic decay. And we need all of us paying attention to this inner life so that we can be a part of the solution. We can be a part of this next step in the evolution, not only of ourselves, but of the planet. We need this. And as the storm continues to build up around us, we really need to dive deeply inside and realize that when you do dive deeply and you get away from all the illusion and you get away from all the chaos that's going on and you emerge and you realize that you're much more helpful and you're much more able to participate in the divine birth that is happening all around us, because that's what's happening. We're experiencing a divine birth. Even within this chaos, and even within all this resistance and all the confusion, realize that there's a divine birth that is occurring, and you are a part of that. But don't go back to sleep. Don't let the people in your life who are trying to tell you that this is crazy, don't let them win. Dive deeply. Know that there is a group here. I'm offering it to you. And there are mentors available, and there are people here in this safe space, right here on this channel and within our Discord group. So know that there's help all around you, and you just need to be aware of it. Blessings to you, my friend. And as the storm continues to build, know that there's help, but don't go back to sleep. Don't go back to sleep. Blessings.